Well, it appears that it's quite okay for vampires to eat each other. At least that's what we've just discovered in our back chat as we were waiting to come in. It's perfectly fine for vampires to eat each other. So that's I guess that's the starting point for tonight.
Yeah.
It can only go uphill from here. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. This is Folk&Myth, and we are playing Vampire the Masquerade tonight, as we do on Friday nights. This is number 3 in our series of 5 one-shots. Chasers, as we call them over here, dealing with some of the main characters and some of the secondary characters of our Vampire Lights and our Sabbat Severed series that we've got going on. We're returning to Lights in September, so these games are kind of connective tissue between the last Lights campaign and this new one, but they're also serving as a way to tie up some dangling storylines and start a whole bunch of new ones, because Russ never sleeps. So thank you very much for joining us here tonight. We have a few people making their debut here with us tonight, and we are always glad to have new faces, have awesome new people come and join us. So how about we start with that? I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask my friends here to introduce themselves and who they are playing tonight. And we will start by the old faces and eventually make our way to the new faces. And we'll start with the man, the myth, the legend, the producer here tonight, also my best buds, and my co-conspirator over at Folk&Myth, playing the story of Nicholas tonight, and he is the man playing that man. So, hey, Miko, what's up?
I don't know about legend, but we'll go with it for now. When you're in a company such as this, it's kind of hard to be a legend.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
That's right.
I am Miko, otherwise known as the OK's GM, and tonight I'm playing Nicholas, a ex-Sabbat vampire.
It's complicated.
He has a complicated relationship with the Camarilla and the Sabbat and all of that, and he very much is, we'll call it, a bulwark against the shadow and darkness of the world.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Miko. Glad we get to revisit this character. Nicholas made his one and only appearance so far in the Carternomics one-shot, where
nothing bad happened.
No, Teddy ate Carter. Nothing bad happened.
No.
Just because Carter was Teddy's father and she ate him doesn't mean that bad things happen. Mm-hmm. But it's worth mentioning that on that night, in that game, Teddy, played by the inimitable Darling Creepshow, who tonight is up for an award at the Crit Awards for playing Teddy, actually, did in fact kill and diablerize her sire, Carter, who was played by Kurt. So we'll see if that has any bearing on what happens tonight, because Nicholas was there that night. So we'll see what happens with that. Another face that needs no introduction, but even if it did, the voice sure wouldn't, because that is the silkiest, smoothest San Antonio Drift ever recorded. What's up, Ian?
Hello, everybody. I'm Ian.
Oh no, it's your mushroom guy from Daggerheart.
Hello, I'm playing Arnaz tonight, and right? Gosh, could you imagine? Hey, yeah, sorry.
Dude, I had you balanced.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ian, or your boy Big on all socials, and tonight I'm playing Arnaz Russo, the Giovanni, which I'm really excited to play, honestly. So I think it's the closest character to who I actually am. So we'll see.
You're a necromancer?
Uh-huh.
Nice. I was ready to.
What else is there to do in San Antonio?
Nothing.
Raise the dead and smoke meat, and I ran all out of wood chips.
Which weirdly in San Antonio you need for both things.
Makes sense.
You're the guy providing all that nice Memphis barbecue over at Gary's.
Yep. They call it mystery meat. What the mystery is, I don't have time to talk about.
Gross.
Thank you so much, Ian, for that. I appreciate you being back here and getting to play again. And of course, you're playing a Giovanni in last week's game. Last week's one show was all about the Giovanni, so we'll see exactly how that ties into tonight. Another face that perhaps is making their debut here, but absolutely we need no introduction, as They are very well known across the TTRPG sphere. Don't look at me like that, Sarah. The wonderful and delightful Sarah. What's up, Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah Moore. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me all over the internet at Pixies and Pins. And tonight I am going to be playing Opal, who is a Samadi, and she is just like the most lovable and delightful decomposing corpse that you've ever seen.
Yeah, after me, of course.
Well, I couldn't compete with you, obviously.
I am Canadian, after all.
It's fair.
Sarah, we've been trying to get you in a game for a while now, so it's great to finally see you here.
No, I was like dodging it like a water dancer. I was waiting for the perfect opportunity, and this is the one.
This was it. Well, just glad you made it.
Me too.
Thanks so much, Sarah, for being here. And finally, someone who also is making their debut here tonight, but someone who is well known in the cosplay world and starting to make their mark on the TTRPG sphere also. Shawkat, how you doing, Shawkat?
I'm doing good. I am Shawkat of Shawkat Cosplay. That's where you can find me across the internet. And tonight I'm going to be Sylvia, a Lamia, but y'all don't know that.
Y'all don't know that.
No.
What? Say it again. What?
Missed it.
Exactly.
We didn't. It's gone.
No.
Though if you watched last week's one shot, the character appeared, albeit briefly, in the scene with the Samdi and all the others when they were forming the Hekata. So, who knows? Who knows? Maybe there are connections. Me and my connections. Making connections everywhere. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. We will get started in just a moment. First off, a couple shout outs. One to our number one mod, Raven Sarah. Raven Sarah, where would we be without you? We would be lost adrift at sea. Thank you so much for all the work you do and all the enthusiasm you bring to the whole affair, the shows, the chat, and the Discord. Thank you very much. Shout out also to Tim at tabletopaudio.com, where we get all our sweet sounds that are tickling your ears tonight. I mean, the real sweet sounds tickling your ears are Ian's voice, but after that, it's the music that Tim puts together over on Tabletop Audio. So thank you very much for that. All that said and done, I would like to remind you that you can help out our friends here with some bits. You can purchase night moves to help out our friends. Night moves. 200 bits buys the player of your choice a night move. 500 bits buys a night move for everyone at the table except me, because I don't deserve them, because, well, I'm the GM. I'm evil. What are you going to do?
That was so convincing the way you said that, too.
I know. Because I'm evil.
It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. Ladies
I think
and
we're all
gentlemen,
starting to develop a little bit of a little bit of being used to the evil that is Bleak.
And then this is where I pull a fast one and become whimsy season and just
He said it, Raven. Raven, he said it. Raven.
The last time that I played with Bleak, he was a princess, and so I know his at his core.
It's very whimsical.
In there.
Very whimsical.
Whimsy.
And with all that out of the way, especially the whimsy, because no place for whimsy here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Anathema are a one-shot for tonight. We open up in New York City. Now, for those of you keeping score, this is happening not very long, a few days after the last one-shot with the Giovanni last week, which, if you remember, the Cappadocians, the Samdi, the Lamias, and the group called Harbingers of Skulls got together and killed most of the Giovanni leadership, including Augustus Giovanni himself, the elder of the clan. This had some ramifications, as his death caused some sort of rift to open in the veil between our world and the land of the dead. We saw already a number of wraiths and ghosts fleeing the land of the dead, including those that were in the Bone Orchard, the forest where the souls of those who have been diablerized and so on and so forth go to find a bit of rest in their final days. But it is now a few nights later, and we are in New York City, where a small townhouse in, what neighborhood, Miko?
Oh, Hollis, Queens.
Hollis, Queens.
Yeah.
Is, if you can imagine if this was a film, we'd get that shot of this townhouse. It would just open very quickly. This townhouse, everything would be really quiet, very quaint. And then all of a sudden, inside, chaos. The inside of the house has been trashed. There's a fight going on. There's a number of people surrounding Nicholas and trying to do him harm. There's 3 of them currently surrounding you, Miko. They've got lead pipes, they've got baseball bats. Now, this is a bit of a uptick from the last time that you got involved with something like this, where a couple of guys broke into your house trying to do you some harm. A couple of ghouls, in fact. And this is what has been kind of piquing your curiosity, because there's, for some odd reason, ghouls are coming at you. It's the 3rd time now. And every time it ups the ante a little bit. The first time was one guy, and then it was a couple of guys, now it's a bunch of guys with some lead pipes and some baseball bats. So it feels like someone's got some personal beef with you, but you don't really have time to think about that. You're currently being surrounded by these 3. You've taken out 2 of them already, but you are in your kitchen. 2 of them are blocking the exit into the living room. One of them is blocking the exit to the door, and they've got you in a sort of like triangular move. They're approaching you quickly. You can tell by their eyes and the look of their skin that they're starved. They're ghouls, and they have been fed on blood, and now it's been withheld from them, and you can tell that they're starving. Their eyes are crazy, and they're looking at you like you're a sipsack, Capri Sun. Which they want to quench their thirst on. So first of all, tell us a little bit what Nicholas is doing as this is happening, and what do we see in this room at this moment of epic violence?
Well, if they've come into his kitchen, as you had described, obviously this his place being a bit ransacked, I would argue that the kitchen is probably the most well put together room in the entire home, because it sees the least amount of use, and so maybe it is a little bit less destroyed than the rest, but being Nicholas's home, he has facilitated a great many different rituals of protection across his home over his many decades of life, or unlife, I guess, in this case. And so I think that you would find that all of the windows, whilst you can see out to some degree, are blacked out magically and provide a great deal of cover for anyone that might be happening to glance in, or, as is usually the main case, preventing sunlight from coming in. And thus the room is bathed in shadow. And Nicholas, at this point, 1 instance of this is chance, 2 instances is maybe a coincidence, 3 instances, of course, is a pattern. And so he is much more prepared this time than the last time. And given the number of them, I feel like he is feeling himself pushed into the corner a bit and biting back the urge to call upon his most powerful darkness within himself at this point.
As they're circling you and sort of approaching you and coming onto you, you can tell that, 1, there's fear there, but there's also that hunger that is overriding that fear. And as they approach it, they're looking at each other kind of nervously. And one of them says, I don't know, guys. I don't know. This might be too much for us. And it's like, you heard what we got to do. You know what awaits us if we don't take care of this. Besides, you want to keep on starving. I know, man. And they're kind of talking. You get the feeling that part of that is also kind of trying to distract you a little bit. And as you're kind of focusing a little bit on the 2 that have been talking back and forth, you notice out of the corner of your eye, the other one has taken a few steps and is sort of coming in. So let's do an initiative, if you will.
4.
Your initiative is going to be your wits plus dexterity plus a d10.
Do I first need to roll a d10 to find out how much blood I have?
Yeah, actually, let's do that. So you're going to start with 3 plus a d10.
That is an 8, so I have a total of 11.
Excellent.
And my initiative, that is also an 8 on the die, so that's a total of 15.
15. You get to go first, actually, as you clock this one coming in out of the corner of your eye. He's coming in with a lead pipe up. Now, you know these are ghouls. They're not as dangerous as if they were vampires, but in greater numbers, they could kind of pummel you a little bit. So what would you like to do as you see this one sort of coming in and the other two just waiting for you to divert your attention fully to that one to come in at you on the other side?
So if I can, I would like to go ahead and summon the Arms of the Abyss.
Well, you certainly can do that.
So I'm going to spend, you know what? I'm going to spend 2 blood on this so that they're stronger than normal. And I need to make a manipulation plus occult roll, which, go figure, 2 things I am very good at.
Difficulty 7?
Difficulty is 7 for this, yes. Pretty good. Oh, there's a 10 and a 9. So that's 2, 3, 5, and a 1. So 4 total successes. So I can summon 4 tentacles.
You reach out to the shadows under the table, which is where, because of the light that's coming in from the little lamp that you do have in the kitchen, is where you get the best pool of shadow. And suddenly these 4 tentacles erupt out of that darkness, blasting the table to bits and sort of reaching out. How would you like them to attack?
So if you would allow me, Christian, a little leeway, I would like to have one of the tentacles actually surge at myself, tear the amulet off of my neck, and thrust it into the ghoul that is attempting to flank me and get the surprise strike upon me.
Excellent. Go for it.
And we had discussed previously what amulet this is.
Yeah.
So, what do I actually roll for the attack on these?
So the attack, they attack themselves. So
their strength is 5.
each tentacle is 4th level, yeah. So you roll 5 dice to attack with them.
Difficulty 6.
It's going to be 6, yeah.
6. 3 successes.
All right, so the tentacle reaches out. One of them reaches out and wraps around this medallion around your neck, rips it out, lashes back out, and the one that was kind of coming in on its own that was trying to surprise you, it wraps around him and brings the amulet up against him. What happens when that amulet hits the ghoul?
So this is a ward versus ghouls, so just the contact of it causes 3 lethal damage just from touch.
As soon as the amulet touches the ghoul, it lets out this blood-curdling scream. Its eyes go wide. The lead pipe falls to the ground, and you almost see like its chest kind of caving in as the tentacle continues to wrap around it and squeeze it. And even as the tentacle is squeezing in here, the body kind of just falling in on itself. The amulet has already done its job. The ghoul is dead just before it hits the ground. You turn over and you catch the other 2 that are just coming at you. You still have 3 tentacles left. Are they going to attack?
I'll have 2 of the tentacles. I'll have 1 tentacle of the 3 remaining go for each of the 2 guys in an attempt not to kill them, but to bind them.
Okay.
Difficulty still 6 on this?
Yep.
Okay, so it's only 2 successes on the first one. And it's 4 successes on the second.
Well, the second one's going to be bound as the tentacle is going to wrap around it. The first one, however, rolled 3 dice on its dodge. So you manages to kind of duck under it and sort of roll away as the tentacle kind of whips into the air and misses it completely. The other one is kind of caught up and bound in this thing. The first one's going to come at you then. At that point, it's going to swing its bar at you.
Do you allow me to use my last tentacle as an attempt to deflect?
You won't need to because I just rolled
strike.
3 ones.
Oh, well then for flavor, I'm going to say that the last tentacle goes in and just snatches his bar out of his hand.
That's actually, I had 3 successes and I rolled 3 ones. So it kind of stumbles as he comes in and the tentacle catches up to him, grabs the lead pipe, pulls it out. He stops there looking at you. His buddy's kind of getting squeezed by that tentacle. Back up to you.
Yeah. I think I'm going to look at the one that just tried to swing at me and screw it. Oh, hang on a second. So the guy that's being squeezed to death, he actually automatically apparently takes 4 health levels of +1, 4 health levels of damage that he can try to soak, and then 1 lethal damage that he cannot soak, just from the tentacle.
Okay, so that one's pretty weak, and since he can't soak the lethal damage, as a ghoul, sometimes a lethal damage won't be enough to kill a ghoul, but in this case, since he's very weak and has been weakened by loss of blood, I'll say that you see the light go out of his eyes as he's being smothered and suffocated by this thing, and the tentacle just kind of draws him under the table to disappear into the darkness.
And I think I'm going to go ahead and call upon Black Metamorphosis.
And what does that do exactly?
So, calling upon Nicholas's inner shadow and darkness that is within himself, his body becomes mottled with pure darkness, and wispy tentacles begin extruding from his back and torso. And though his appearance is still vaguely humanoid, shadow just starts oozing out of his form. And when he opens his mouth, he speaks in an otherworldly voice at this one ghoul that is still here and says, "Run back to your master. This ends."
Well, let's see if his courage holds. His whole 2 courage.
Oh, and that's actually part of this. His difficulty is 8.
8? Okay, well, that was a 7. So his eyes go wide. He looks at his buddy being dragged into the shadow underneath the table and just kind of disappearing into it. He looks at his other buddy that has been completely destroyed. His eyes go wide at the sight of you in this shape, this form, all the lights. It's kind of like in that moment in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf like rises up in front of, and all the darkness kind of surrounds him. It's kind of like that, like everything has gone dark, and he turns around and bolts out of there, turns on, it hits the frame of the door, bounces off, and then just kind of holding his head, dishes out, runs out. And interestingly enough, you see him kind of start going in a direction and stop, then look around, and then head towards the dock area. So that might be a clue for you at some point, that's where this guy headed out.
Okay.
You call back your darkness, and it sort of slinks back, and all this darkness that's in this room sort of slowly crawls back towards you and kind of re-enters your body and disappears. And everywhere where you would have a shadow, like under your jacket or under your neck or wherever like that, like shadows just kind of crawl in there and disappear, and in moments lights back, and the only thing you see is a little bit of a tentacle, almost kind of like a black cat's tail under the table, flap a couple of times more and then disappear.
As it's flapping there, Nicholas is going to lean down, reach out, and start to pet it, and then grab it and squeeze it and bring it up to his face and say, "I control you. Remember that." And then let it go.
You let it go, and as it goes, it gives you a little tap of the finger and then goes back down. You stand in the middle of your room. There's the body of a ghoul. There's Your table is in disarray. The kitchen's a bit of a mess. There's a few lead pipes lying around. The front door is busted open. What do you do?
Ghoul has to be consumed first. So I think he will drag it out to the back garden. A place where he has buried the others that are being slowly consumed by the shadows embedded in the ground. He forces ground to the side and just drags the form in. For the briefest moment, there is a sympathy in his expression as he does this.
You start noticing that the ground where you've laid these to rest, these ghouls to rest where they're being consumed, the grass has died.
Becoming burdensome. He reaches into the inner pocket of the gray trench coat that he wears and pulls out a fairly long hand-rolled cigarette that likely does not have tobacco in it, and lights it up and starts smoking. And as soon as he takes that first drag, a sense of calm washes over him.
What do? You take a few deep breaths, calm yourself. The night sounds resume their usual nature, cars passing by, music somewhere in the distance, people walking and talking. It's as if the night had been holding its breath for a moment, but it's not gone back to doing exactly what it does.
I think he just takes a minute. A few more drags. Before heading back inside to try and salvage what he can of his door.
As you move back inside, heading over to the closet in the hall where you keep what tools you have on hand in the house, you hear sounds coming from the kitchen. You hear a sound of almost kind of like a fridge opening, which is weird because I don't even know if you have a fridge.
There's nothing in it, but he does have one.
You hear a fridge opening, and then you hear the distinctive of a can of something being opened.
Visibly shudders at that sound. Why? Turns and looks back.
When you look back, you see something you really didn't expect to see. Wearing his usual trucker's cap, long beard, sunglasses on, his old jean vest with the patches on it over the leather jacket, sipping on a Miller Lite you know was not anywhere near your fridge. You see Carter. And as you take him in, he looks at you, takes a swig of his Miller Lite and goes, "Man, I always knew you was fucking ugly, but when you pulled that shit back there, you was fucking uglier than I've ever seen anybody be ugly. And you gotta remember, I used to hang out with Verena, and that girl did some ugly things in her life."
You should not discount the beauty that Verena has.
I don't discount it. I'm just saying, girl does some ugly fucking shit.
Not half as ugly as your soul, Carter.
Yeah, my soul, let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about that. Like how you just stood by and let that fucking bitch Teddy eat me. Was that not, weren't you supposed to be there to fucking help me?
No. That was not part of our arrangement. I was there to perform the rites and ensure that only those that were bound by the rites proceeded the combat.
Mm.
And I didn't bind myself to the rites. If you had any semblance of intelligence, you would have bound me to that when you could.
He drains the beer, crushes the can, throws it at your feet. It bounces off, goes through you, and scatters off, and then disappears. When you turn around, he's got another Miller Lite in his hand. You always were a fucking squirrely fuck, weren't you, Nicholas?
Not half squirrely enough, it seems. Why are you here? Why are you here?
Oh, I'm just here to fucking see you, see how you're doing, ask about, how are things been, Nicholas? How's the record collection? Is it growing? You found that Beatles album you were missing? Nice place you got here. A bit banged up right now. Where are those guys? Why are they after you? Who'd you piss off this time?
I can only imagine. What has caused your spirit to vacate the land of the true dead?
Oh, shit, man, if I fucking knew that. Look, all I know is I'm sitting pretty and fucking Teddy looking through her eyes, seeing all sorts of things. That girl masturbates a lot. That's all I gotta say. And, at first she was kind of shy because she knew I was in the brain, but, there's no stopping her. That girl's wild. That girl's wild.
Your influence, no doubt.
Well, I always said that if she followed into Daddy's footsteps a bit more, maybe we wouldn't be here right now in this particular predicament.
No, I think that you are the reason that we are in this particular predicament. You just could not keep your desires to yourself.
What's the fucking point, man? What's the fucking point of being a goddamn fucking vampire if you're just gonna fucking deny yourself things? Huh? We're fucking top of the food chain, man. We're fucking Hulk Hogan in the fucking heyday of the WWF, man, where there's nobody above us. And if you act like there is, then that's a problem with you, man. And this attitude that you've always had of looking down on the people around you, the people who kept you safe, the people who shared blood with you, the people who were your goddamn motherfucking pack. Looking down on them like you're so much better than everybody, turning your back on everyone. That is fucking failure on an epic fucking scale, my man. You had the whole fucking world in front of you, and what? You want to stay home watching fucking, I don't know, MASH reruns or something on TV? Fucking brilliant.
No, Carter. I didn't want to stay home and watch MASH reruns. Although that does sound actually quite appealing right now. And he takes another drag from his joint. I just wanted peace and quiet. That's all I wanted.
Shit out of luck with that, because I'm here now, buddy. And I may not be able to do anything to you, but I can sure as shit annoy the hell out of you. You want a Miller Lite? Fucking king of beers, champagne of fucking beers. Pulls another can, throws it at you. Just kind of goes through your chest.
How long is this going to go on?
Unlimited number
How long are you planning on trying to torment me with your presence?
Well, short of a miracle, buddy, you ain't getting rid of me, because I don't know what happened, but the door's been blown wide open, and even what little itty-bitty little piece of me was left in that fucking tree in that bone orchard got to get out and got to come here. And you know how annoying a fucking mosquito can be when it's in your ear all the fucking time? Well, that's me now, buddy. Just get used to it. We're going to be the odd couple, you and me. We're going to be hanging out and nothing, and I mean nothing. And as he says that, the doorbell rings.
Turn and look in the direction of the open doorway.
Standing there, you see a woman in Shaukat. As you stand there looking at this man you've been sent to talk to, apparently talking to himself in this destroyed kitchen with blood on the floors, destroyed table. What would Nicholas see as he looked upon you?
Nicholas would see exactly this. I look exactly as I'm presented here. Tall, dark-skinned, curly hair, 2 buns, with the look of contempt and disgust and confused interest. I could just walk on in, but I feel that wouldn't make the best impression.
Well, if the best impression is what you're going for, perhaps we could start with a name, perchance. I assume you know mine, else you wouldn't be shadowing my door.
You are Nicholas, and I am Sylvia, and it is in my best interest to be an ally.
I glance past my shoulder and see if Carter's spirit is still standing there.
Carter is standing like right behind you, like, you know, like he's almost like got his hand on your shoulder. He's just sitting there with the beer and going, "Who the fuck is that?"
Well, Madam Sylvia, perhaps you can tell me why you are here, please. I mean, your company is certainly better than the other company I keep.
Fuck you.
And it is safe to come in at the moment? Are there still things that you need to take care of here?
I have many things that need taken care of, but at this moment, my demons are the only things that you have to worry about, and they seem content to haunt me.
Upon hearing the word haunt, I would like to activate Shroud Sight to give the destroyed insides of your home a once-over.
So before you do that, if you would do me the favor, rolling me a d10 and let's see how much blood you have. Since you were coming here kind of prepared, I'm going to say you started with a 5 plus a d10.
That's 2.
All right, 7.
Seven's good. You're not hungry.
Yeah, you're not hungry. No problem. All right, so you're going to activate Shroud Sight, which allows you to... What does it do?
See through the shroud, the mystical barrier that separates the living world from the underworld. I can spot ghostly buildings and items, and even wraiths themselves.
Excellent. Go ahead and give me a perception plus alertness roll. So number of dice equal to your perception plus alertness, and your target is 7.
Okay. Perception 2, and then alertness 2. It's gonna be 4. 9, 10, 11. 17.
Sorry, you don't add them up. You tell me how many are 7s and higher.
2.
Any ones?
No one's.
All right. The world in front of you sort of fades, and you're seeing basically kind of a washed out, gray-toned, grayscale version of the world in front of you. Things are just a little bit askew. The buildings, the doorways, the walls all seem a little kind of squiggly and whatnot. You can see, which is strange. Like, obviously your character knows about what's happened with the shroud and all that, with the veil and all that last week. So you are not surprised to see quite a number of spirits just walking through the house, kind of passing through. Normally you don't really see that. But more importantly, you see standing just over Nicholas's shoulder what would best be described as a southern redneck trucker guy. He's got the big beard, he's got the ball cap, the trucker's cap, with the vest with patches stuff. He's holding a Miller Lite and he's looking at you, and then as soon as you start seeing him, his eyes go wide, goes, "Oh, now you see me, do you?"
Not quite being prepared to see exactly that. I definitely would not have hidden my surprise at that well at all. So my eyes also flare. You have a friend.
Well, let's not make assumptions, friends, shall we?
Oh, we're good friends. We're the best of friends. Yeah, we used to we were blood brothers once. We shared blood and everything. Yeah, we were brothers. Cut ourselves with a rusty can lid and everything, just like you do,
Nicholas, to make myself known as succinctly as possible, I believe less is more, especially in this case. I want to make sure that you are safe. You are important, and I do not seek to harm you. I am only here to help, and I don't really feel like saying much other than that.
She's selling something. Fucking, are you Amway? You're fucking Amway, aren't you? You're here to sell for fucking Amway, right? What, you got Tupperware?
Can I dismiss Shroud Sight?
Yes, you can.
I'm gonna dismiss it.
All right. Is that Tupperware? Is that what you're selling? And the voice fades away. Oh, she's gone, man. Just me and you again, buddy. Puts his arm around you.
Oh, peace.
For you, maybe. And then I think he takes the final drag off of his joint. Drops it on the floor.
Man, it was at least another token there. Are you fucking wasting this shit now?
Madam Sylvia, I can appreciate you coming to my door and behaving so well. As you can probably tell, the most recent visitors that I have had are not as amenable to such things.
The shroud is thin and you're being haunted.
What else is new?
She put that together herself. Comes in here, looks around, sees a bunch of ghosts. You're being hunted. Yeah, they definitely sent you the sharpest tool in the shed for this one, Nick. Hi, Nikki. What's up, Nikki? You doing all right? You're looking a little bit strained there, Nikki.
Is there someone that sent you in particular, or is this gracing of my home your doing? I only ask because, as you might know or have heard, I have some difficulties with the hierarchies, and I'm not too keen when others try to influence my day-to-day.
I am Kate Sith, but we have a mutual acquaintance who is invested in your safety.
And who might this mutual acquaintance be?
$10 on the fucking Cardinal Santiago. Yeah, $10, man. You got $10 on you.
Perhaps that is something we can discuss after we are a bit more acquainted than this. Again, less is more.
Maybe she found you on Tinder.
Certainly. Come. And I
You're
think
not gonna trust her, right?
he walks out his front door past her. He moves to the side of her, showing a deference, a grace. There's a formality in the way he moves that is so practiced it's natural for him at this point. And he moves past and goes through the open door and just sits on his stoop.
There is someone who can help you, which helps me. So I'll say who can help us. If you are willing, I would very much like to make plans to see. Would Nicholas know Arnez?
You don't know? You can throw the name out and see what happens.
To see another ally, Arnez.
As soon as you say the name, he winces a little bit, very obviously recognizing the name. Arnez sent you to me and didn't send you to kill me?
I have no interest whatsoever in harming you. None.
But
I have no interest in being in New York any longer than I have to as well. I am not sent here on a murder errand. If that were the case, I would have come in ready.
Certainly. I'm just a bit surprised is all, given the last interactions that I had with Arnez were not very gentlemanly.
On your part or his?
I think by the end it was mutual. Let's just say we don't necessarily see eye to eye on the processes by which certain things need done.
You keep very strange company, Nicholas. You have issues with Arnez, yet that thing follows you around. I find most obnoxious.
Not the only
issues,
one, my
he's
dear.
got subscriptions.
Well, if Arnez sent you to me to, I assume, deliver a message or to retrieve me or set up a meeting of some kind, he must have a good reason. Why else? He's kind of contemplating. This is intriguing. And
I don't think you have anything better to do as well, judging by the state of your place.
I have many things that I could be doing. It's just made all the more difficult by the current predicaments that I find myself in.
He's got macrame to finish. He's got VHS to bring back.
Where are we supposed to meet, Arnez? Please tell me that he is at least in a borough.
Well, he has a place of business.
Yes.
I believe that'd be the easiest way.
Interesting.
We're going on a field trip.
Let's go to his home turf then.
Did I tell you about the time that we had to go into Chicago and they made us ride the fucking short bus? They got us on but literally a bunch of Sabat, and they put us on a school bus to fucking get us into Chicago.
Do we need to take the main line to get to his place of business, or will transportation service do?
I'd prefer transportation service. Again, New York is new for me.
Well, you haven't had any experience in New York until you've ridden the tube here. It's interesting.
Does that line ever work for you?
I can provide
until you've ridden the tube.
cover if you're worried about people perhaps seeing you.
No, it's fine. I'll follow your lead.
Good enough. We could also take a yellow taxi. Your first time in New York, after all.
I guess if I'm going to be here for a little bit, I should learn all that I can learn about its amenities. So again, I'll follow your lead, Nicholas.
Well, given the person that is currently haunting me and how I chose to not allow him to ride in one on his coming to New York, I think it's only fitting that we take a ride in one, don't you? And he just goes into his phone and he calls up one of his favorite cabbies.
Why you gotta be like that, man?
And for the first time, you see a genuine smile on his face.
Can we detour by Schenectady? There's a 7-Eleven with some fucking great barbecue.
Just doing his best to ignore.
Meanwhile, across the city, somewhere in Bensonhurst, at a little shop where bespoke urns are made and sold, a little shop called A Well-Earned Rest. Abraham is shuffling around upstairs as you, Arnez, and Opal are downstairs. The spirit that's been sent to you, by all appearance, someone who probably died somewhere along the 1400s in Venice, for he is wearing what appears to be a jester's outfit. He's sitting in the armchair in front of your desk, Arnez, and he's speaking a very old dialect of Italian, and the bells on his cap and on the end of his shoes keep ringing ghostly throughout the office. I'm sorry to bring you such news, Senor. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Arnez is sitting like across on this table and he's just staring at him, just like, could you at least take the damn hat off?
Opal is trying to ring the bell on the hat.
Please don't, Opal. It's been 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's so pretty. No, don't. I like it.
He looks at you, Arnez, like stuck, like.
Please,
It's
Arnez,
fine.
it's so pretty.
Keep
Puts
it
it
on.
back on his head.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to bring you such news at such time, but by all indications, they will be here very soon. And Lazarus would like you to do your very best to assist the gentleman in retrieving the item.
Does Lazarus have a better concept of time? We do have things to do. We're running the shop.
Yes, Singer. Singer Lazarus believes that you can quite probably take care of this little errand by dawn. He thinks it is well within your power, especially with the assistance of this Lasombra, to accomplish this deed and be back home in time before dawn.
Arnez, please, you never let me go out. Let me go out. I want to go do things.
We don't know exactly what we do, but we don't. Let's just wait until our guest is here.
I want to go somewhere.
And you might go. We just need to figure a couple things out. And who was this? Do we know who's coming?
I am told it is one of the Hecata is accompanying a gentleman by the name of Boyd, Nicholas Boyd.
Excuse me?
Don't you know him?
Is it your
Unfortunately.
friend? Is your friend coming to see us?
Oh,
I didn't
you're-
meet him last time.
Your friends, that is formidable. You will be able to work with your friend. Friendship is such a beautiful. I used to have a friend once, but he buried me alive behind a brick wall, and I
Oh,
don't
that
think we're
sounds like
friends
a
anymore.
fun friend. Were you playing a game?
No, he was taking me to taste some wine in his cellar, and next thing I know, clink clink the chains, and then the wall
I
building,
remember
and
him. Wasn't he a count?
no, he was not a count. He fancied himself such, but he was merely a rich man whose wife had left him and whose servants had also left him because he was a terrible person.
I think he was one of us.
Opal, can you keep our friend occupied for a few moments? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Nah. Arnez gets up from his desk and he goes into like a small back room that's behind his desk and closes the door. And in the back, you can just hear, there's like a book that went across the wall. And he's like, shit! And he's just screaming really loud. Then he comes back out of the door, fixes his coat, and he's like,
When you come back, I think Opal is wearing the ghostly
Yeah, I have the hat on.
belt. It
I
looks
figured it out.
marvelously on you.
I figured
Senora.
it out. Can I keep it? It's so nice.
it's yours.
Yes.
I don't think you can, but okay.
I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arnes, do you need a hug? You seem sad.
I'm fine.
No,
well,
but you yelled all of the bad words that I'm not supposed to say in the other room.
I stubbed my toe when I closed the door. Sorry.
I'm
Oh.
so sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
I stubbed my toe in the spring of 1422, and it was quite painful. I remember it to this day.
I also
Yeah, and then
like
you
your
drank the
coat.
wine
Can
and
I
just-
have your coat as well?
It goes with
Senora,
the hat.
I'm not wearing anything underneath this.
I
Give her the
didn't
coat.
ask that. I would like your coat.
It would not be proper for me to disrobe myself such in front of someone, a lady I was not married to.
I have seen genitals.
My genitals are not on my chest.
Then you can take your coat off.
That is a logic that I cannot argue against. And he starts taking off his little ghostly gestures, motley, and he pulls it up over his head, and it gling, 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 gling as he hands it over to you. And
I put it, I like settle it on myself, and I just like shake.
when you put it on you,
Yeah.
the bells don't ring as much. They're very muted, almost as if the sound is coming from another room.
I feel like they're broken. This is broken.
And maybe that what keeps them functioning is their connection to me.
Okay,
but
I'm gonna
perhaps
sit
he
on the chair
he
where
comes
he
in
is
like for a
sitting
hug. He comes in like for a hug.
Well, as soon as he does, I start shaking.
And yeah, as soon as he kind of hugs you, the bells start shaking a little bit more.
Yes. Okay, you stay here. This is good. You just stay here.
I cannot, Senora. I have to return to Lazarus.
Why?
Oh, he will destroy me otherwise. He has been keeping me on a short leash for several hundred years now.
Okay, listen. I would like your promise then that if he does destroy you, that I can have your hat.
That is quite macabre, but considering that I was once entombed alive by someone I considered a friend, I guess it's not that far outside of my realm of experience.
Sometimes friends do that. Friends are like that sometimes.
Perhaps you could simply buy one?
It won't be this hat. Why?
This is logic I cannot argue against.
Thank
In any case, Sir Giovanni, will there be anything else?
No. Thank you.
You are to take him to a rec hall owned by a certain Bogdan.
That sounds fun.
Yes, you mentioned it earlier. You didn't mention who, but you did mention what. So, thank you. Please take your jingling elsewhere. Thank you.
Yes.
Like jingle.
I'm sorry, and the hat and coat disappear off your body and reappear. I'm sorry, I cannot help it. if I am destroyed, I will make sure that you get my effects. Goodbye.
Thank
and he starts to
you.
fade away.
Thank you.
He coughs a little bit as he does, and then disappears.
Arnez, he was nice. I liked him. I like when we have visitors. And he said we're going to have another visitor. Maybe I should go outside and wait for him. Wouldn't that be fun?
No.
Why not? Why not?
We'll wait for them in here.
Should I bake something? I could bake something.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
I heard of a thing. Called a lava cake. And it's like chocolate, and then it's filled with like liquid chocolate. But like, what if I filled it with blood? Wouldn't that be fun? And then we could eat it.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear the bell upstairs ring from the door opening. You hear Abraham's feet shuffle. You hear distant voices. Then you hear the shuffle of Abraham's feet again, and the door opens. Signor Giovanni.
Yes.
There are people here to see you. It's what? Sorry, young man. What did you say your name was? They're not saying their names. But one looks very unhappy to be here, and the other one looks very mysterious.
Okay. Does one of them have an oddly shaped bald head?
I bound up the stairs.
Oh shit. Okay.
Abraham steps aside. You bound up.
Thank you, Abraham.
Yes, absolutely, Miss Opal.
Nicholas, does every cabbie talk that much every time you ride one of these?
Yes. And if you pay close enough attention, you can learn some of the most amazing things about the human condition. And hello there.
Hello. I'm so excited that you're here. You missed me wearing bells, and then I was gonna bake something that had blood in the middle, but I didn't quite make it. You got here too early, but also maybe too late, depending on what you wanted. What's your name?
My name...
Sylvia.
Sylvia, you're very pretty.
Thank you, Miss...
Opal. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. My name is Opal, and this is Arnez. Arnez, hurry up! Come on. It's because he's just right behind me. He had to take a minute to compose himself. Arnez!
I'm coming. Who is it? Who's upstairs first?
It's new friends. This one is Sylvia, and she's pretty, and she doesn't like cabs. And this one has not said his name. What is your name?
You know who it is, Arnez. Come on up. Let's get this done.
The obscenity
his voice kind of just reverberates and echoes down the stairwell.
You know, it's the weirdest thing. Every time somebody says your name, he says the meanest words, and they're bad.
I imagine so.
What happened with you guys? Did you try to wall him up after he drank wine behind a wall? That seems to happen a lot, I guess. Did you do that to him? Did he do that to you?
No.
Okay, well then I don't see what the problem is.
Let's just call it professional discourteousness.
Entombing has gone out of favor for quite some time.
Oh, thank the heavens for that.
Yeah, the
but
ghost.
Unfortunately, something that still may be needed. Nicholas.
Arnez is here.
Good evening. How are you?
And this is?
Sylvia.
Remember I said
Yes.
Appreciate your hospitality.
Absolutely, Miss Sylvia. Welcome. Nicholas?
I'm confused about something, and perhaps this is just because I wasn't paying enough attention after the... Well, whatever. You did not send her to me.
you were sent to me.
I really, really dislike it when people pull strings that think I am attached to them.
Wait a minute. So you think I called for you? And for what reason would
No,
I just...
I very much don't think that anymore. I was confused by the notion that you had, and this was more a piquing my interest that you might. But now I see
you're interested.
I pulled no strings. You made assumptions about how exactly this all worked.
Adam, my sincere apologies. That was not meant for you. That was meant for someone else that I hope is not listening.
Was it me? Did I do it?
No.
Oh.
You're in a room full of like people that can deal with the dead, and you can't stand this guy enough that you're gonna leave. I like that. I love that. So
Nicholas, what does that smell? It smells like old beer. Have you been drinking?
No, I have not. There is a presence following me.
I'd wager not just one. The shroud is thin.
Very likely. I have ended many a being.
You've been busy this evening.
Oh yeah. Very.
And you decide to bring them here, smelling of old beer and barbecue sauce.
Hey, you smell of Prego sauce, man.
I'm agitated for some reason. What?
No, you should be, because I'm fairly certain that the insult that he just levied against you would warrant some very interesting language out of you, my friend. I am haunted. In the past week, there has been a number of circumstances that I cannot truly explain. And it's interesting that somehow I have come to grace your door, person that might be able to explain it.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy who makes his meatballs with fucking black boar's head ham and fucking like Beyond Meat.
I'm sorry, Nicholas. This...
If you really are interested, look into the veil and see what I'm dealing with.
Can't say I recommend doing that.
I don't want to. The smell alone, it's beer and smoke and shit. Okay.
Isn't that all of New York?
Yes. This.
All right, come on now. It's mostly just Brooklyn that's like that. Thank you very much.
I'm a transplant. I'm sorry. We don't do this in Chicago.
No, you just do abhorrent things to pizza.
That's rude.
I like that one, man.
Listen, we've had this conversation for at least 20 years, and you know you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Also, you are friendly. I was very confused. It did not seem...
We have our moments. Isn't that right, Arnez?
Yeah, we do.
I would hope that you are on good terms, since I believe, Arnez, you can help us.
This is the longest that I think we've been in each other's presence without him trying to end me, so...
Opal,
I'm thinking about it.
You feel a presence near you, Opal. You feel like you do when someone's looking at you and then you kind of look up and you see that they've been staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of feel that kind of feeling on the back of your neck. And Nicholas caught her standing next to Opal, kind of looking her up and down, and goes, "She's literally falling apart, man. She's literally falling off the bone. Might not have this barbecue I had once in Gary, Indiana, and that's besides the point, but she's literally falling off the bone. What's wrong with her?" Oh. Was she a Samdi?
Pardon me, Miss Opal.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry. Is there somebody behind me? It just felt like there was somebody behind me.
Yes,
oh,
I'm just
hi.
curious if I understand that, being attached, and he just kind of glances to Arnez and back to Opal, might provide you some methods for help dealing with annoying assed spirits.
Oh, I really like spirits. There was one here earlier today.
Oh,
He
you
was
won't
all
like
jingly.
this one.
Well, I might. You don't
No.
know.
Oh,
You
she'll
don't get
get a
to tell
kick
me
out of
who
me.
I'll like. I might like him. But anyway, there was one jingly. He was jingly earlier, and he said that you were going to help us. We were going to go get a thing together. We were going to get to go out of the house. Arnez, right? We're going to get to go out of the house. We're going to go all together.
It's still being worked on, Opal.
No, the jingle guy said we had to go.
Okay.
Let's have a sit. How about that? Let's do that.
All right.
You mind if I
Y'all gonna
smoke?
sit and talk? Is that what's gonna happen, Nicholas? This is a party and a half. You sure know how to party, man. I mean, a room full of necromancers. I should have known it was gonna be dead. They call me the dead one here.
I would like to go retrieve something that I baked earlier. I think she's baking all the time. I think that there's some sort of cookie situation. They're very dark. Pretty
Dude.
sure that there's a blood cookie kind of thing happening here.
They look like skeletons.
Oh yeah, absolutely shaped like skeletons.
And they are delicious, honestly.
Hey,
Opal's
everybody.
baking has been amazing.
I brought some treats because when we have big conversations, I found that people get very cranky, and so just little treats for everybody. It's got a lot of just like real good blood packed in there. I think you're gonna like it.
Wonderful. We wouldn't want anyone getting angry at the notion of being hungry, now would we, Arnez?
Listen, you asked me for help that night, okay? You made me kill 15 people and you want to get mad at me because I was a little peckish after? Like, that's my problem?
No.
Thank you.
I think Arnez might actually be put off by the notion that Nicholas just gave up on that so easily, as he reaches into his jacket and pulls out another joint, and it's very obvious that what he holds in his hand is like relieving for him.
Ooh,
Well,
what's that? What do you have? What is that?
It's terrible.
I want
Please,
some.
Put that away. Put
Yeah,
it away.
have some.
No.
Who's gonna share?
Put it away. Sit
Not
down.
even going to allow me a smoke.
If you would let me finish, I'm trying to show hospitality.
That'll be a first. And he
Once
does, in fact,
everyone
put
else
it away.
has taken a cookie, Sylvia will then and only then take one after she has seen everyone else take a bite.
Nicholas will put away the joint and then casually just reach for a cookie.
Please sit. Opal, I'll be right back. Just shuffles off back into the office, comes back with a pine wood box. He sets it on the table. These are pre-rolled. You use paper. I hate it. I tend to use something else.
It's all about the end result to me. And he reaches out and takes one without even batting an eye.
You guys are like the worst version of Cheech and Chong I've ever fucking seen, man.
I can assume, Bleak, that Arnez in the back of his head, it's kind of like Carter's like a buzzing. Like he can't really put his finger on what it is. The smell's bothering him, and it just kind of feels like a gnat. I would like, in this moment, to use Compel Soul. Would that be valid in this moment?
Roll for blood.
Well, yeah, so how about the two of you give me a little roll of blood to begin with? So 3 plus the d10 of blood will be what you have.
Woo! I rolled a 9.
Yeah, you're set.
I'm eating a blood
You might
cookie.
be capped.
No, not quite yet.
No, I got an 8. I think I'm pretty good for right now.
So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to see the soul. So you're gonna go ahead and give me a perception plus occult roll to see if you can see him.
Okay. Let's do it. Do I know my difficulty?
6.
Heard. That's not correct. Here we go. 3 successes.
You see Carter, you know what Carter looks like. You see Carter standing next to the cookies, and he's picking them up one at a time and licking them and putting them back in the plate. But of course he's a ghost, so he's not actually picking them up, but he's doing it anyways.
Look, Arnez does this, looking at Carter, and then flips his head back to Nicholas, and he goes, "Really?"
The Sabbat are not particular about who they invite into their ranks.
What's your position on mac and cheese? Would you say that that constitutes a traditional Italian pasta dish? I'm talking about the good kind, like made with the Velveeta and whatnot. I mean, my mom used to put like Rotel in them, and they were pretty good.
I can only accept so much trash in my house. You are one thing. This is another.
What are you gonna do about it, big boy? You gonna go downstairs and bake a whole mess of garlic bread and just carb yourself to death?
I'd like to tell him just to leave and stand outside. That's it.
No.
You sure? You sure about that?
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I mean, unless you're gonna serve me some of your ham and Beyond Meat meatballs. I think I'm gonna stay right here.
Opal, can you please cover your ears for a moment?
Yep.
Thank you, darling. Fuck you.
Okay. Like right now, right here on the table, on these cookies.
Oh, you couldn't afford it. Okay.
I'm not entirely sure what is going on exactly, but it seems to be getting in the way of important things at hand.
Yeah. I think Arnez is fighting with something invisible.
Seems like it's that kind of night.
I would like to shroud sight again and potentially
We'll see. You don't need to shroud sight because it lasts for a scene, so we'll say it's still up, even though you cancel it. Like they'll just slip into it and see him again.
Okay, I will slip back into shroud sight, and I will.
Oh hey.
As pleasantly as I can seem, with a smile, perhaps a little bit on the wicked side, and I would like to whisper to the soul. So I'll walk over to Carter and I'll whisper his name right in his ear, Carter. And yes, I would like to whispers of the soul, Carter.
Sounds good. The victim rolls willpower, difficulty 8. You go over and you whisper his name in his ear, and he looks at you and goes, well, this is progressing a little faster than I expected. I mean, I'm going to take care of, Provolone there, but if you want, I'll give you seconds. Gold Carter is always good for 3 or 4 rounds. You want to come over here, whisper sweet nothings into my ear like that?
Oh, Jesus, it does not.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work. There's a lot of things that are not going to work.
That is annoying.
Yeah.
At least you can turn it off.
It's very rude that everyone is talking to someone I can't see.
Opal, you are being blessed, I assure you.
Trust me, it's the best thing.
Oh, yeah?
That you can.
How about this? And you see appear in front of them, standing right next to the cookie plate, holding a cookie, looking like he's about to lick it. You see this man, Carter, appear in front of you, Opal.
Oh, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Do you like my cookies? I baked them special today, and
Yeah,
I'm very good.
If I eat one of these, am I gonna find like one of your toes or fucking something in there? Like, cause you're falling apart, lady. I don't mind telling you that. Like,
I mean,
your bits are
maybe.
dropping.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, this is to our benefit. While he's distracted with Opal, please, business, let us discuss.
I was thinking the same.
Is it good?
Yeah, I think I found one of your nipples. It's kind of chewy.
That's okay.
So, Nicholas, you were told that you were sent for, and we were told that you were just coming. Okay. It's actually probably a good thing that it's you that's here in reference to this. I may need your help.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know. I may need your help obtaining something. There's a dealer by the name of Bogdan. He's one of the woke. He knows. So he has some important artifacts that we may need, but what he has to protect it may be within the realm of your expertise.
Just to be clear, actually, Bleak, does Nicholas know Bogdan?
I think you've heard about him as someone who deals in hard to find occult artifacts.
Just to be clear, Arnez, you've tried the business arrangement of things first, yes?
Yes.
I mean, I know the man, so I completely understand if no positive arrangements could be made, because that's just kind of what happens when dealing with them. And
okay, then I lied. No, I haven't. This is probably the most positive that we can go.
All right. Well, given the fact that you're asking, just to be clear, you had never intended to ask me. Someone else kind of maneuvered us into this situation where I am your best case scenario, I assume.
Seems so.
Jingles said we got to steal it.
I'm sorry, who?
Jingles. He had a cool hat.
There's our previous guest.
I got to wear his coat for a little bit, and then he took it back because he was rude. And he said we got to steal it, and you were gonna help us steal it, or we were gonna help you steal it.
I understand rude ghosts. Believe me, I do.
Yeah.
I think this may, or at least on our end, could have been the doing of Lazarus. He may have sent our friend Jingles. Abraham was his name.
No, Abraham is my friend.
I'm sorry, Lazarus?
No, Abraham. Yeah. He just said Abraham.
Yes, but he also said the name Lazarus.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
That
Sylvia chokes a little on her cookie.
Oh, are you okay? Okay.
Is there a problem?
No, things are making sense now.
Okay. Ooh, good. So, yeah, Bogdan has a artifact, the osseous reliquary. And like I said, unfortunately, he has some magical defenses that I'm not too keen in, but you are. Something along the lines... Sorry?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Sure, why not? Is there any notion that I might be able to get assistance from you or Lazarus or someone in my predicament? Because frankly, I'm willing to go against Bogdan if that will result in someone getting rid of Carter.
Are you talking to me? Talking about me? Oh yeah, you said Carter. You're talking about me. You want to get rid of me?
Is that your name?
Yeah, my name's Carter.
Oh, hi.
Hi, pleased to meet you. Your name was Jade, Amethyst. What stupid rock name did you have?
Okay.
Okay, that's not a rock name.
Well, which one you picked that you liked the most, that one would be okay.
All right, Amethyst. You look like an amethyst to me. I knew a stripper once in Kalamazoo whose name was Amethyst.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What's a stripper?
It's like a dancer who takes off her clothes, but as opposed to you, she still had both her nipples.
I think I still have them.
You look like one's gone.
No, they're still in there.
Opal. Decorum.
What?
Come on.
Well, he was making comments about my nipples, and I had to check on them.
They're fine. They're beautiful.
Miss
Please
Opal,
stop.
Miss Opal, you should be well aware that this fiend, but that is haunting me at present, is a master manipulator.
Oh.
And so you should do your best to disregard pretty much everything that comes out of them, as it is very intended to induce you to doing something that lacks decorum.
And that's bad.
I'm not an interior decorator, man. I don't care what people do with the decorum.
And we're not supposed to decorum people.
Please just please stay covered in that regard. It's just we don't do
please.
that.
Okay. All right.
When does this retrieval need to take place on? As I'm assuming tonight, because everything has to happen tonight, right?
Right. I mean, of course, it needs to happen as soon as possible. Tonight being best. What was your thing?
Yeah, not tonight, man. I want to wake up next to you tomorrow.
That's
That's
so
the thing.
romantic.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
The Carter is a pretty romantic feller, even though my
Aw,
reputation precedes me, and
That's
it's
so
not the best.
nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm
That's
tender
so
at
nice.
heart.
I knew it. The two of you have this thing. Like, it's so powerful.
We have a
No?
thing.
Yeah. There's at least one thing between you. Seems like maybe two.
I was expecting more things to be attacking you, not this. This I cannot help you with. Someone seeking to harm you, not mentally, I am of great use, but this is not in my wheelhouse.
He just like pats the hidden pocket under his jacket and says, "I have many things that can help me avoid mental fatigue."
And Miss Sylvia, yes?
Yes.
What's your aim? Why?
I am simply here to keep Nicholas safe.
From?
The things coming from the veil.
Like
Hark.
that?
That does not wish to physically harm
Yeah.
him. I can only assume that just is here to make his life miserable and
That's
those
his
near
You
him.
say that, yet, and you see him reach out, and he grabs a cookie, and this time a cookie lifts off the table, and he lifts it up, and about a foot off the table, it slips out and falls down. It's like, well, it looks like things are starting to change. Oh, I like that. And he picks it up again, he lifts it up, and this time it goes a little bit higher, and then it slips through his fingers and falls to the table and breaks. Oh, that one had a toenail in it. Ooh, gnarly.
So, you want us to banish him? Essentially.
You can't banish me. You can't do anything to me.
Shut up. Stop it.
Listen, Mortadell.
You know what?
That's even enough for me. I'm fine with the notion that even Lazarus might owe me one. So even if you all can't get rid of my issue, let's just get on with this so that I can have something productive come from this night and I can get back to repairing my home from the damage that was done.
Fine with me. Yes.
Can we stop by 7-Eleven on the way?
Can you
Ooh.
please?
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're always fine.
Okay.
The reliquary. Yes. So your certain talents can get past the seal that holds it. That's what I'd like for you to do.
All right.
Your talents. We all know what those are.
Fine. I don't mind making an enemy of Bogdan. Lord knows I have plenty of people on the list wanting to do something harmful to me. So.
I know what that feels like.
And while we're on our field trip, yes, Opal, we are going out.
She scurries away to change her shroud into her going out shroud.
Honestly, she really is the best. I mean, once you look past of everything falling off, she's a gem. Truly. Anyway, like his gaze like went off for a second.
It's great to have friends that fall to pieces, eventually just disappear, and then they're not around to know you anymore, unlike me.
Is Spud Hut coming with us the entire way?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we have much choice in the matter, but given what I know of Bogdan, there's probably going to be at least some location within that will push back spirits and the like, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it causes them tremendous amounts of pain.
That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, cool.
Opal comes scurrying back in. She's got like a thicker shroud on, and she has a bag. I packed some snacks for us. We've got some more cookies and a couple other things, but most importantly, I did pack us a couple of juice boxes just in case anybody gets a little peckish, you know.
As she says that, you see her ear is slowly sliding down.
Yeah.
Along her neck. It's about to fall off.
Arnez like gently puts his hand next to her neck.
Oh, it's so nice.
And Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for packing that. That was the best.
People get hungry, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
that's nice. What are you doing?
It's just your ears are so soft.
Thank you. I moisturized this morning. I think it helps. Do you think it helps?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps too.
And on that note, a lot of you will proceed out into the streets and start heading towards the rec hall, whatever that is, where Bogdan hides. It is 10:35, so we will use this opportunity of your little trip out over to the rec hall to take a little break here. We will go refresh ourselves. We'll take a little tight 10, and we'll be back shortly thereafter to find out exactly what's going on in that rec hall and why is everyone wanting to go there, and why is Carter here? Because I'm sure there's a reason for that. We're back from our little break where I got myself some ginger ale, some Canada Dry,
Oh, yum.
sugar-free ginger ale, because it's the best thing in the world.
Sugar-free.
Mm.
What?
Second best thing in the world. My friends, we are back here as, unfortunately, Nicholas finds himself being haunted by someone he shouldn't be haunted by. Carter, it seems, has returned from the world of the dead to on Nicholas, which is a little bit weird since Carter was diablerized. At the same time as this was going on, there are forces moving that apparently need Nicholas to do something, because he was the Lamia, Sylvia, was sent to fetch him and then to bring him to the Giovanni Arnez and the Samedi Opal. All three of them now annoyed as all hell by Carter. And all just wanting to get rid of Carter. I don't know why. Carter's a nice guy. Just, makes friends wherever he goes.
It's obvious why. To everyone but maybe you.
I've waited all my life to play Carter, and here I get to. You have a quest now before you, a little mission given to you by Lazarus, given to Arnez by Lazarus, and that is to get your hands on an ossuary, a reliquary, that is hidden somewhere in the rec hall where Bogdan, the art dealer, does his business. Gird your loins. I'll have you know I have no loins.
Too much girding?
Too much
Girded him
loin.
way too hard.
Too much loin mowing.
I'm still thinking about Opal. I have seen genitals.
I have though.
I have many in my jars downstairs.
I keep them.
Opal has
That's
the
not
thing where
weird.
wherever part of her body falls, she just puts in formaldehyde.
keep- Yeah, I keep it because I'm gonna figure out how to put it back on later. It's gonna be fine.
Out there with her sewing kit.
Yeah. She's gonna be a
Um,
little motley, and that's okay.
You've traveled out to the area where Bogdan, the renowned occult art dealer, has his office, which happens to be in a like a community hall, which is strange in and of itself. As you make your way there, being annoyed as all hell by Carter, who just won't shut up and says the worst things. Probably only Opal kind of finds him mildly entertaining. You do notice that he seems to be getting a little nervous as you're getting closer to this place, perhaps sensing that there might be, something to the idea of him being dispelled and sent away. However, as you approach the rec hall, your senses immediately sort of jump to alert. As you move slowly, keeping to the shadows, keeping an eye out on the rec hall, which is just this low one-floor community center in the middle of this Eastern European immigrant neighborhood. Very dark around here, very quiet, not a lot of traffic going by. There are no stores or anything like that. You see a couple of things that put your senses on alert. One, there appear to be two big black Escalade type vehicles with tinted windows and too many antennas for their own good, parked just around the corner from the rec hall. And as you scope the place out further, you notice that not only is the front door ajar, there is on the wall next to the door a splotch of blood, and you can see sticking out of the bushes next to the door, you can see the tracksuit covered pants of what was ostensibly the guy who was standing at the front door. And the splotch of blood on the wall looks kind of like the splotch of blood you would get if someone gets shot in the head at a range by a gun, for example. What would you like to do?
I'd like to investigate, to see if there is, I want to know how fresh that blood spray is. I would imagine that I could probably smell it. I want to see how close we are to this gunman.
All right. So you start heading towards the front door. What are the rest of you doing?
As we're getting out of Arne's vehicle, I think Nicholas is going to turn to him and say, "Don't you want to grab your North Face puffy coat from the trunk so, people know you're not from here?"
You petulant colonizer, shut up.
I'm gonna, as I'm moving forward, I'm gonna turn around and just go, shh.
Sylvia will don her mask.
So let me know. So you've parked. Opal is kind of making her way towards the front door. Sylvia puts on her mask. What are the rest? What are you doing? Are you staying by the truck? Are you moving towards the rec hall? What are you doing?
Arnez is gonna stand go ahead. Arnez is gonna stand a little bit behind Opal. I'd say about maybe 10 or 15 feet to allow them to do their thing, but he's keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that as soon as Nicholas sees all of that, he becomes serious once again. And I think I'm going to manifest a shroud of night in the area.
You exert your influence, exert your power. I don't know if you have to pay anything for that, but go ahead and do that. And the lights around the area start to dim, almost as if there was a power failure or brownout or something like that. The area becomes dark, and even the light of the moon and the stars seems to fade a little bit as the area immediately surrounding the rec hall starts to get darker. While that's happening, what is Sylvia doing?
If it is not still active, I'd like to activate Shroud Sight, but I would like to, because I'm donning my mask, I'm using it to make sure I'm careful not to give away recognizing anything that I'm seeing.
I would say you have to activate it again at this point. We've gone kind of pretty far along the way.
So I did have to roll. I got more than enough successes, but I'm also going to expend a blood point, which I normally don't have to do, but I'm doing that for the additional effect that the darkness manifests farther out and beyond like my line of sight. Like, my intention here is that if there's someone standing at a distance with guns,
Yeah,
that
gotcha.
they're gonna get, blocked from seeing.
Gotcha.
I would like to do a night move to get a success, or is it either or do I get both? Because I rolled a 1 and only 1 success.
So that normally would be a botch, so you'd have to spend just to avoid the botch.
Okay,
I thought
I'd
the
spend my
botch
night move
was
to
one
avoid.
too many ones.
Yeah, you're right, actually. So that would just be a regular failure. So you can
Right, so
spend it
spending
to
the
get
night
it.
move would turn it into a 1-point success.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your sight fades into, again, beyond the shroud, and you see a number of spirits and souls in agony that are kind of circling this place. You see one come out of the rec hall, and it's joining the others. There's maybe a dozen or so of them. They're all wailing and screaming in pain as they kind of circle around right over where the rec hall is, and their screams are sort of echoing out throughout the entire area. You know they're not in the real world, but they still spread out and kind of cast a chill down your spine.
What is the number that I am looking for as a success for investigation?
Just a 6.
And 10s explode?
Yep.
7 successes.
Wow. As you approach the door, you can clearly see that blood is very fresh. The body is very fresh. It's still warm. And as you come close to it, the smell of flesh, of fresh blood, of meat, of cordite, of gun smoke just wafts over you. And that behind it is this other smell of decomposition, of rot, of putrefaction, of corruption just wafts right out of that place and just envelops you like a miasma that just kind of wraps around you almost moistly on your skin.
So she steps into it and arches her back probably more than is possible because she's kind of able to get it, and she takes a big whiff and she keeps going in the arch back to look at Arnez behind her, and she says, "Very fresh. It's more like opal." And then she stands back up and takes another couple steps towards the door.
I love that so much. I'm gonna give you a 9 move for that.
Oh, thank you.
I love that so much.
Nicholas kind of just leans into Arnez. They're not a Simshi, are they?
It just smiles and just. Oh, jeez.
This place is surrounded by death.
Oh, good.
We should feel at home.
What do you do?
Is there just a front
I'm
door?
going in.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Like, she told you what happened, and then she like restacked her spine, and then just go ahead and go inside.
We're going to the front.
Hey, thanks, Phoenix Iwaki, for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders.
Hey, thank you.
Things
Oh,
are
hi.
things are just getting dark. You showed up just in time.
Just in time. Thanks so much, Phoenix Iwaki. People, do make sure you go and check out Phoenix Iwaki stuff. One of our good friends. We're going to be doing some fundraising with Phoenix Iwaki a little bit later this year. Great D&D content as always, and branching out. I know that you've been doing a couple different things, mate. So go and check out. Give them a follow. And yeah, Phoenix Iwaki, excellent people. Excellent people. As you walk into the rec room, it's laid out kind of like a regular community hall. There's like a big open space, some tables and chairs along the side. There's an old pool table in the far corner. And something that's different than most community halls you've been to is the number of dead bodies, of corpses that are lying on the floor. And what's kind of interesting about these corpses is that they look like SWAT guys or tactical soldiers. They all have kind of dark body armor, helmets, visors, very advanced weaponry. And there's a dozen of them laid out all over the main hall of this place. And as you look at them, you see that they've died ugly, like they've been ripped apart, cut to shreds. Some of them have claw marks through their helmet, armor's ripped apart, some of them cut completely in half. One of them, most of his face missing, as it looks like he's been bitten by something savage. And all these dead bodies are sort of piled up and around. And at the center of this thing, lying on the floor, still breathing, but looking completely massacred from a great number of bullets and shots. And knowing kind of what you know about these creatures, you figure that, normal weapons shouldn't be able to do that. So there's definitely something inky, but you see this huge mass of fur that you slowly come to realize is a massive werewolf lying right in the center of this thing. And this werewolf is strange. His fur is moving as maggots and worms crawl along, and most of his flesh kind of rotten away, covered in pustules. His skin is almost like falling off. He's got patches of fur missing. His teeth are yellow and broken. He's ginormous. His claws are huge, curved things, but he looks diseased. He looks completely rotten and wasted. And as he lies there in a huge puddle of his own blood, you can see the wounds on his body is made by dozens and dozens and dozens of bullet wounds are not closing, and they're just spilling this dark black ichor blood that's dripping out of him and just spreading throughout. And the smell is like that of a refuse pile that has been laying out in the sun. It's just completely overwhelming. What would you like to do?
Well, Opal's leaning into the crazy. And she's humming to herself and counting the bodies in a spiral. Like she's like spiraling in to get to the center, to the werewolf. She's just checking to make sure that none of them are actually alive. It's confusing to her because a lot of them look like her. So she wants to double check that nobody is still sentient. And so she's just kind of like walking and checking each one and like, one,
you move through them, you see
two,
like a dozen of them
3,
ripped apart.
4. And when she gets all the way to the end, she's gonna turn back to Arnaz and say, all 12, but none like Opal. And then turn back to inspect the werewolf.
He's breathing hard.
What happened to you, friend?
An eyeball just kind of squints over towards you and takes you in, and you see rage filling it. And he tries to get up, and his hand like kind of it's on the ground.
So angry.
Blood just dripping out of him. And you can see some of the bullets that are on the ground look like they're not dull like regular lead bullets. You don't know what they are. They're not silver, but they're dropping out of his body, and the blood's just pouring out. What let's go around the table and see what everybody else is doing. So Opal, you're approaching this guy and you're gonna
Maybe kill him.
okay. What's the Nicholas doing?
I think, first of all, has Nicholas ever had to deal with werewolves like Bogdan before?
Well, let's go ahead and let's see. Give me we'll say that you have I'm gonna say a 60% chance of having dealt with something like this.
That would be a no.
So you know of werewolves?
Yeah.
But you don't know anything specific about him. He just looks really banged up.
Okay. I think Nicholas then is going to focus on the surroundings and just try to see if there's any additional threats in the area. He's more attuned to the danger that could face them versus whatever happened to this entity.
What is Sylvia doing?
I want to look at the bullets and see if there's anything occult about the bullets.
Arnaz?
I'd like to pick up one of the guns from the SWAT guys and check to make sure the gun that I pick up at least has some bullets in it.
Yeah, you'll find it's got about maybe like half the magazine left.
Sick. Make sure the magazine's good. Charge it. Kind of keep it ready just in case Bogdan decides to jump at Opal.
Going backwards then, Sylvia, as you approach and you pick up these bullets, go ahead and make me, let's call it, it's going to be an intelligence plus firearms roll. You are muted.
Highest is an 8 and a 6, no ones.
Okay. So as you pick one up and you go ahead and you pick up one of the guns and you pull a bullet out of it just to make sure you get the bullet. And as you're looking at it, you know what oil looks like on water, that kind of multicolored iridescent kind of, when you move the bullet, that's what the head looks like. So normally a bullet is made of lead, so it's this very dull gray kind of color. But as you move it, it almost looks like there's liquid on it or inside of it, but when you touch it, it's dry and you don't see any liquid. But when you move it, it's got that kind of sheen and that iridescent kind of look to it. You've not seen anything like it, but when you touch it with your fingers, it literally has the same impact on you as if you had stuck your finger outside during the day. It feels like the sun burning the tip of your finger, and when you pull your finger back, you can see that there are these black burnt veins that have kind of shot out from the tip of your finger, and the skin has been cracked and peeled back.
The bullets are dangerous for us.
Yeah, the silver.
No, this isn't silver. This is something else, something different.
Oh. Even better. It points it right at Bogdan. Aims, like, gets a good aim on him.
And Nicholas, you look around, you don't see anything else. You find a couple of other dead bodies, Bogdan's men, all guys wearing these tracksuits and carrying guns. They got apparently taken out by gunshot, first of all, and then you can see like a bead curtain that's been completely ripped off, and you can kind of tell that that's kind of where Bogdan came out of. And he apparently came out in Krino's form, because you can see claw marks like near the top of the door frame where he sort of pulled himself through it, and you can see some of his fur and some of that rotten skin kind of hanging off of little bits of metal or whatnot that are kind of sticking out of the door, but you don't see any other immediate threats. Opal, you approach the werewolf. You look at him. He's looking at you, tries to get up. He can't. He falls back down.
Is there a gun near me?
Oh yeah, there's tons of guns.
I'm gonna pick it up, and I wanna
Opal, be careful.
shove it in his body, and then pull the trigger.
You know what you're doing.
You fire off a burst of rounds. He tries to claw at you.
No.
Kind of barely just nicks you a little bit, and you feel pain, and part of your skin kind of rips off. But then the bullets kind of get him, and he crumples down, and you can tell he's way weaker than he was before. There's still all this blood pouring out. His breath is incredibly raspy, but it's still just barely there, and you can kind of see the minute movement of his chest as he's still breathing.
So close.
I'm gonna lean in again and say, let me see. Just want to make sure that I have the right words.
Hello, big puppy. I want the osseous reliquary. Where do you have it?
And I looks at you.
Yeah.
His mouth curls up. You see worms fall out from his gums. The worm takes everything. The light goes out of his eye, and he stops breathing, and slowly he starts to revert. And in a few moments, you have, lying on the floor in front of you, a human, tall, gangly, reddish hair with a beard, riddled with bullet holes, his body covered in spiral, not tattoos, but like ritual scars. You can see that a lot of his skin is cracked and red and darkened in places, and he's got all these spiral scars all over his body, and he doesn't move.
Opal turns back around and looks at Arnez, and she says, Arnez, I'm sorry. And then looks back at the thing and says, I think I broke the ginger.
I didn't. Like, Arnez is like, he's taken aback in this moment. He's just like, you're fine. It's everything. No, we're fine. It's fine.
He talked about a worm. I asked about I remembered what we were supposed to do. I remembered. She still has the gun. I remembered. And I said that I wanted the reliquary. I asked for it, and then he said that the worm takes everything, which might have been nonsense because of loss of blood. And she's continuing to gesture big with this gun. It might have been from loss of blood, but I don't know for sure, right? So maybe that was like a clue of where everything was. Did I do good? Did I do good?
You did wonderful. Here, let me just
Oh,
right
okay.
there. Yeah, no, you done it. You put in his back. Yeah, you did great.
Yeah,
Let's just see if he has anything else.
I did shoot in his body like 12 times. So I probably should have stopped at 11.
one good measure.
Yeah.
A baker's dozen, that's 13.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Okay.
You, I want to know. I want to mention that Varl donated 100 bits. Somebody else earlier donated 100 bits. So we'll say that that's a 9 move in a pool that anyone can use if ever you need it.
Cool.
So we'll put that in a pool for y'all. While those two are talking, what are Sylvia and Nicholas doing now that the werewolf appears to be dead?
I want to inspect the symbols, and would the worm mean anything to Sylvia?
So go ahead and make an intelligence plus occult roll. Anyone can do that, by the way, dimension of the worm.
Ooh. What are we looking for?
You're going to be looking for, I'm going to say 8s. It's pretty obscure knowledge for vampires.
2 8s, 1 1.
Right, so that's one success.
2 8s, 1 10.
Okay.
No ones.
I got 4 successes.
Woo!
Were you rolling on the worm, Miko?
No, I think they've got it covered. Nicholas is much more focused on the surroundings and letting those that were very interested in the werewolf deal with the werewolf.
among once you pool all your information together, you know that the worm is this creature supposedly that the werewolves, the Garou, usually fight against. That is a force of corruption in nature. It is supposed to be this kind of antithetical force, to nature. It's about corruption and that putrefaction and all that. And you know that there are different types of werewolves, and some of them follow the worm and some don't. In many ways, it's almost kind of like the beast that's inside of you, where it tries to get you to, give away your humanity. It's kind of like that, but for nature in some ways. So whether or not you believe in that's up to you, but that the werewolves, the Garou, definitely believe in that. Antithetical. My French accent won't let me do that correctly. Antithetical. There we go.
Nailed it.
Nailed
First
it.
try.
I think in that moment, Arnez would squat next to the now transformed body of Bogdan and kind of just look at him and whisper in his ear. He's like, Bogdan, I'd still like to talk. And try to summon his soul that way just to talk to him.
Go for it. Sylvia, one of the things you noticed as you were inspecting the tattoos is that the worm is often represented by a spiral, and that is why he's got those things on his body. So you would kind of put 2 and 2 together and realize that.
Manipulation plus occult equal to my willpower. Cool. Sweet. Let's do it. Manipulation's decent. Okay. Sorry. Everyone can hear me.
While he's trying to summon, I think Opal is going around and making sure that everybody's body parts are with the right body.
Very, very useful. Very, very kind of you.
It would hit home for her. Like she's just making sure that everything is together in the right spots, making them in like neat little piles. Just like
right arms will go over here, left arms go there. What's Nicholas doing?
I think he's actually kind of getting a little antsy about all of this, that we're spending too much time in this room. And so he's going to very cautiously step into beyond the beaded curtain that it seems like Bogdan probably came from, and just look around. He's still staying within, yelling distance if need be, but...
On the other side of the beaded curtain, you see is an office. You see a desk that's been roughly pushed aside. There's paper all over the place. There's filing cabinets, racks, things like that. There are a bunch of artifacts displayed on little display cases and whatnot. There's a door that's barred in one corner of the room. It doesn't look like it's a door that leads outside.
Sylvia will tear herself away from watching Arnez's summoning process to make sure she keeps Nicholas in eyesight.
Okay. If Nicholas doesn't see any threats, I think he's going to, starting with the curio of artifacts, start looking for something that is very noticeably guarded through the types of things that Nicholas is more adept at trying to get into. Because although I don't know what the artifact is that I'm looking for, I know that it would very likely be something well protected to require my attention. And so he's looking for that level of protection.
Okay. What did you get, Ian, on your roll?
4 successes, beating my willpower of 3.
So you call out to Bogdan, reach out to him, his body's there, you feel his presence sort of really close to you. You reach out and grab it, and as you do, you feel a tug on him. You feel that something's dragging him, pulling him away from you. You fight it, you try to hold him back, but it's kind of like having, like a shark at the end of your thing, like you're pulling, and he's there, and you can kind of see him, and you kind of look out towards the shroud, and you can see at the base of his feet, there's this huge black spiral that is spinning and spinning, and he's kind of half submerged into it. And you're reaching out and you're grabbing him and you're trying to pull him back, pull his soul. And he's looking at you and he says, "The worm takes all, the worm takes all." And as you look, you see that the spiral is like a number of black, like skeletons of worms that are spiraling, and what you thought was just like this black kind of mess is just this huge number of these black skeletal worms that are spinning and spinning and trying to drag him out. You're going to have time to ask him one question before he gets pulled down.
Bogdan, where's the cross?
The sunless coffer. Down the spiral, and he gets ripped out away from you and dragged down into this, and he screams as he disappears into this whirling maelstrom of black skeletal worms.
I think like on the outside, Opal has seen Arnez do this, but if anybody was just to peek, right, they would just kind of see Arnez gently leaning over Bogdan and whispering in his ear, and just like this small wisp of like it's frost that comes from out of his mouth and barrels into the ear of Bogdan, and then once that's finished, the frost comes back into his mouth, his eyes frost over and then defrost, and he stands up and he's like, "Whew. It's like a brain freeze where just everything just wonderful.
You did so good, Arnez.
Thank you.
Opal is clapping with corpse hands.
And it's hilarious.
Yes. Give them clap. They're from different corpses, so they're not the right size. But she's
just one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. One more time, Bleak. Down the spiral. The what?
The sunless coffer.
The sunless coffer down the spiral. Okay.
Meanwhile, in the office, the only place that you can see Nicholas that looks like it's reinforced in any shape or form is that door that's in the corner of the room. Everything else you can tell pretty much at a glance are just like worthless baubles, random bits and pieces. Something that might attract the attention of, like, someone who doesn't know anything, but they're totally worthless.
Okay. What about the barred door?
When you approach the door, you see a strange mark painted upon it. It looks like two black swatches with another one kind of coming down across it. And it's painted on the door itself.
Does it look like some kind of rune of warding or something of that nature to me?
And I think you're there too, Sylvia, right? So both of you can
Yes.
roll intelligence plus occult if you would like. Miko, your target is going to be 8. Sylvia, your target's going to be 6, actually.
1 success.
Roll a couple of 10s here. 4.
Both of you, neither you know what the mark is, but in both cases it reminds you of something else. So you've seen similar marks before that indicate a passage from one world to the next, a passage from this world to like an astral plane or the land of the dead or things of that nature. So it's similar to various other types of runes like that you've seen. Miko, in your case, you will know a little bit more about it. You will know that I want to make sure I tell you the right thing. It reminds you very much of an old symbol that you'd seen certain Lasombras do. There are Lasombras who possess the power to traverse shadow, or to even reside in shadow for some time. And some of them speak of a world that exists in the shadows called the Shadowland. And this symbol kind of reminds you in some ways of marks that you've seen used to indicate that particular world.
Okay. I think that Nicholas, as he is like looking at this mark, he doesn't touch it, but his hand moves in the vicinity of it. And when he fully realizes what he believes it to be, he clenches his fist tightly and backs away from it. Turning around, he looks at Sylvia, kind of surprised that she's standing there. Anything come from the wolf?
Last I believe Arnez was in the process of conversating with it, but I came to see what was going on over here. That symbol. Do you think maybe
Do you know
Wait.
it?
Yeah, it's kind of familiar to me. Where's Carter?
I'm right here. I was taking a piss on the Garu. Man, I hate those fucking things. Most of the time we try to just sneak our way into a city and would be like watching out for Camarilla, but these suckers would jump us all the fucking time.
Does that door make you uneasy over there at all?
The lot of you make me uneasy. Jesus Christ.
I'm asking specifically about the door. Let's stay focused on what you're directly being asked.
Carter is too much of an imbecile to know anything about that.
That's right. I'm such an imbecile that I don't even know how to spell the word imbecile. There's probably a silent K in there, and I would forget to put it in.
You should be mindful, Carter, though. That doorway is something special. And if I shunted you through it, your eternity would be the most painful in existence.
Buddy, you're like an armless guy trying to open a can of Miller Lite. You can't open it.
Keep telling yourself that.
Surprise me. Man, those fuckers killed a black spiral dancer. Like, that's not nothing. I don't know who those guys were, but Jesus, I hope they never come after us.
I thought you weren't afraid of anything.
Anything that can take out a black spiral dancer like that, especially when it's like human and fleshy, I'm pretty impressed.
I'd like to, with a cloth, or like not letting it touch my skin, I'd like to toss a bullet at Carter.
You toss the bullet at him, and it hits him. He goes, ah, and he backs off, and the bullet doesn't quite bounce off. It kind of just slows as if it like hit water or something and drops to the ground. He backs off like, mother, geez, what's wrong with you?
I'd like to say that Opal and Arnez walk in when that happens and sees that.
Jesus.
Did that work?
Fuck.
I told you, they're different.
Ooh.
Really? Pulls
It
the gun.
burned
that he
me
pulled out
like
of his back.
sunlight when I touched it with my bare hand.
That's great.
Bah,
but it just unloads the rest of the clip right into Carter.
You unload into him, the bullets kind of hit him. It's kind of like hitting water again. It slowed down. He rolls back. And he falls down on the ground. God damn it. He gets up. The bullets keep dropping down his body as if they're sinking in water.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. Normally, your kind would say something like this: what? 2 in the heart and 1 in the head, and he pops one more right in the head.
Jeez. He gets up. You see the bullet slowly drop out of his form and hits the ground.
Mikata, you shouldn't mess with people from Chicago.
That was fun.
I guess.
Can we do it again?
Absolutely. There are 12 bodies out there with rifles.
As much as I love to see Carter tortured and in pain, we have a task to do, and the more noise that gets made and the longer that we are here, the more difficult that task becomes.
Okay.
Knowing that Carter can be hurt is good enough for me at this point.
Ooh.
You're gonna regret this, Pavarotti.
Hands the gun over to Nicholas. Have fun whenever you like.
Nicholas
Did you
actually
get anything
does
from
not take the
Boston?
gun. He actually shies away from the gun, and you can very visibly see that he is shaken by the notion of being handed the gun.
Hey, Wanderers Haven, thanks for the raid. Jeremy, thanks so much for coming in. We mentioned you earlier because there were hunters kicking around.
Arnez acknowledges that just with a look and just tosses it beyond the beaded curtain. So, spoke with Bogdan. Lovely gentleman. Looking for something that's very correct. Sunless coffer. There's probably a box here that's covered under something. What's that?
The door, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing. Yeah.
That's a gateway to a realm that no living being should ever go.
Ooh.
Or unliving.
Ugh.
Damn. Okay.
And does nothing about the door ping under shroud sight?
No, in fact, it looks like a void, like there's nothing there. Like when you scan it with shroud sight, it just this black, empty blob of nothingness.
That's curious.
Y'all are too dumb to figure this out. Ugh,
Then please enlighten us, Carter.
Oh, don't.
No.
Oh my.
I pick up the gun
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot me. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna kill me. It's just annoying.
Say the same
Sorry,
about
do you
you.
want to be annoyed? Is being annoyed not enough for you to speed up this process?
I don't know anything about this stuff. Just some guy drinking a Miller Lite. Like, you gotta figure this out on your own, man. I'm
Well,
not
if you know
fucking
nothing
fool.
about it, then insulting us about our lack of knowledge isn't going to help.
But it's fucking entertaining.
Cotter, Spill, you obviously know something, or you can feel something.
Go stuff a cannelloni up your ass.
You know what? Fine.
Oh.
You want to see so badly what I'm talking about, Carter? Because I'm fairly certain that if I send you through this door, and I'm guessing you're compelled to follow me, that you're not going to like it very much. And I can deal with the realm of shadow. You cannot. And I'm going to go over to the door. I'm going to spend a blood point, and I am going to call upon my hands of destruction, and I'm going to sink them into the door.
And as you do that, as soon as you touch the doors, you feel the energy that you're about to put into it with your hand of destruction is about to turn against you and go back inside of you, and you stop it just in time to not feel it. As you stand there in front of this door, you realize that there's something very powerful that's protecting this door.
From touch?
From at least thaumaturgical powers. You brought the wrong Lasombra. This one can't fucking shadow step. You're fucked. Oh my god, you went through all this trouble to get yourself a Lasombra, and you brought the only one in the entire city who can't walk from one shadow to the next. You're so fucked. I love it.
Oh, I mean, I could do that.
Yeah, you can do that. You?
Yeah, I can walk from one shot. Is that what we're supposed to be doing?
Not the way you're thinking of it, honey. Like
What
the
do you mean?
complicated way, not the dumb way.
Would you shoot him one more time? He called me dumb.
Sylvia, please.
You know, you are such a great shot, Arnez. I think you should.
Absolutely. Here we go.
While Arnez is dealing with Carter, I want to kind of slip out of the room, and I think maybe even using my own blood, I would want to attempt Lilith's favor to see if I can gain any sort of ability or insight that could help.
So as you sit there and start the ritual of Lilith's favor, what you do know about such powers like Carter was talking about is that only really old and powerful Lasombras have that. You might be able to get some of the basic Lasombra powers, like the same ones that Nicholas has, but it wouldn't really help you get that level of it because it only gives you like 1 or 2 points of
Gotcha.
discipline. It might, however, depending on how much uptenebration Nicholas has, it might get him high up enough. A couple of points of a clan discipline might be enough to get him shadow step or something.
So
Shadow
knowing
step
that
is 6, right? I have
It
4
gives 3
uptenebration.
points. Yeah, it gives 3 points of a clan discipline boost for 1
Mhm.
hour.
knowing that Nicholas almost has the ability that we need, I would petition for him to gain the additional ability.
As you settle down and start the ritual, calling on the Dark Mother, you suddenly feel the world around you kind of shift a little bit, as if you've kind of been taken almost back in time. The rec hall has disappeared. Around you is just wild, untamed nature. It looks a little bit like when you look through the shroud. It's got this kind of washed out quality to it. And as you kneel there and start preparing the ritual and start petitioning the Dark Mother, you hear a voice behind you. It is very soft and feminine and very motherly, and it envelops you like a dark caress. And it says, "You call on the Dark Mother, child."
Humbly, I seek entrance to a place that would be denied, and beg for the power to he who can wield it, to be allowed access to serve my purpose.
But if a way is barred, perhaps there is a reason for it. Are you certain that you wish for someone to step through?
Would you lead me somewhere that you would not want me to be?
You're a wise one. I can grant you this favor, but you know the cost.
And I would pay it.
You know that when I take a memory from you, you will experience whatever emotion it contains in one fell swoop for the amount of time that you would have experienced it had I not taken the memory for you.
I am aware, and I know that I am asking a great request, so I would even offer the memory of your choice.
Well, that is most delicious. There is one I particularly like. A small village in Egypt.
As I request and as you wish.
Live it now. Live it now. Feel it for the last time. And as the Dark Mother touches you, what is this memory that you experience?
It's a memory of me, somewhat young, fresh, unaware of the consequence of feeding unprepared. And it is me taking a victim and the resulting plague that comes forth decimates this entire village. And I am weighted by guilt and shame, not having taken better precautions, because it is a waste. It is a tragedy. And I should have known better.
And as the guilt of this memory, the guilt that you would have experienced over the next decades, centuries perhaps of your life, all comes flooded over you in one moment. You feel it slip out of you.
Sylvia is sitting quietly and rocking, and tears of blood are pouring silently down her face. Her eyes are closed and her head's hanging, and she's just rocking, experiencing all of this.
And as she does, you all see this black liquid start draining out of her pores over her entire skin, drain down, staining her clothes, dripping down, pooling at her knees. And Sylvia, as you experience that memory for the last time, as the dark humor the black bile of it escapes your body, you are left with a strange sensation, that sense of guilt, of grief, that has guided your path for all these years since you committed this crime is gone. And you find in its place an emptiness. And you realize that you may not feel the need to be so cautious again in the future. You are muted.
In the process, Sylvia's mask fell, and there are cracks now in it. And somewhat wobbly, unsteady legs, breathlessly holding on to the frame of the door. Try now, Nicholas.
Opal hands you a cookie.
Devoured.
Nicholas, as this liquid pours out of her and pools on the floor at her knees, you find yourself suddenly imbued with an understanding of shadow that goes beyond any you've had before. You can look, if you want, Miko, at the GM tab, and you'll find under the gear section, I've put the mechanics for Shadow Step, Shadow Lair, and Tenebrous Form. And as you feel this cold, dark embrace of Lilith, the Dark Mother, come upon you, reach around you like a mother cradling her most favored child, you feel the power of the shadow inside of you roiling and moving. You feel it grow. You feel your understanding of it go leaps and bounds beyond anything you've ever seen before. You can see that there is nothing behind that door but a shadow. And in that shadow is what you are looking for.
I think that Nicholas, in this moment, his eyes become pools of inky blackness, and I think he steps through the door, and he doesn't have any hesitation as he does so, and he tries first to, because that's in his nature, he tries first to manifest his black metamorphosis. But instead, I think it takes the tenebrous form instead.
Yeah.
Where he just becomes pure shadow. And in his mind, there is a soft whimper, as if there's some part of him that he had been holding on to for so long that he just lets go of.
You all see the shadow just meld through the door, and as he goes, you see Carter kind of get yanked and pulled by him. Carter goes, "Oh fuck!" and then disappears through the door also.
Yay.
On the other side, you are in a room of shadows. You instinctively recognize the trace scent. The Cardinal Santiago built this place. You hear a sound behind you, and when you turn expecting to see Carter, you instead see another figure, familiar from so long ago. A woman with dark hair, dressed very primly. And you recognize Nadia. And she stumbles through into the room. She looks at herself and goes, "Ah, damn it. I barely got to have any fun." Been a while, Nicholas.
I'm confused. You're much more torment to me than Carter. Why take that form if you wish to cause me agony?
Oh, I have a long list of people that can torment you, Nicholas, and I thought it might be interesting to have you go through all the steps of having them removed one by one only to see a new one show up.
You would.
I told you, death is only the beginning for a euthanatory.
Yes. You did try to counsel me with that advice once.
Well, what do we have here? That's what you've been looking for, then.
I mean, I assume machinations of people with more power or authority or both above that like to tug on the string. You know a lot about tugging on strings, don't you, Nadja?
I do, but I always did it for the greater good. Your motives were always less clear.
Indeed. It's one of the things that I actually respected about you before you had to die.
But now I'm curious, more than I am angry. What's that? And she points, and you can see on the ground a small, simple wooden cross. Just on the ground, leaning against the wall. The wood looks old and blood-stained. It looks ancient and blood-stained. There are a few rusted nails next to it. As you look upon it, you have a brief vision of a maze, endless, rolling beneath you, light shining through it. And as you shake your head and clear your head from that vision, you see a red thread on the ground going from the cross back out the way you came. It glows for a moment and then disappears.
Do I know what it is?
No.
I assume that that is the artifact of power that my friends outside don't realize just how powerful it is.
I'm more concerned about this vision of the labyrinth you just saw. See, the labyrinth, as we call it, is an interface between Oblivion and the underworld. As many things are in the underworld, Oblivion is a concept and a physical entity. There's a physical location, the well of void that comprises Oblivion, and the labyrinth is the area surrounding it. Oblivion destroys meaning, coherency, self. The area surrounding the well reflects that. The labyrinth is an incoherent maze, infinite in size, composed of the aggregate detritus of the living worlds. It's not an ordered maze, it's the absence of order. One corridor in the labyrinth can be a hospital, the next a volcanic tunnel, a factory. It would appear the labyrinth, or a portion of it, is manifested in the skinlands of this world. Maybe part of why this wren was tiered in the veil recently. Whatever is happening is powerful enough to start connecting the various places, boring tunnels between them, maybe even mashing them together. It's not good for anyone. Whatever you're going to do next, Nicholas, I would suggest you follow the thread wherever it leads you, unless you're no longer interested in doing what's right.
Yeah, that was always one of the things that I loved about you, Nadja. You were always smarter than me.
Well, you can't live as many lifetimes as I have and not learn a thing or two.
You figured out what your next lifetime's going to be?
I don't know, but I'm very curious now. Us you Thanatos mages have a vested interest in Oblivion, the Shadowland, the world of the dead, and something is messing with it right now. I think you're probably safe from me for a while. I think my curiosity is greater, as I said, than my anger, and I may be looking to satiate it before I turn my gaze back on you, but rest assured I will at length.
I have no doubt.
If you ever want more questions without answers, once you've followed your thread, go to New Mexico, the Stardust Motel. Talk to the owner, D. Tell him I sent you, but be aware he's a mage also, and a very old one. He doesn't suffer fools, and he's especially cross since a bunch of your kind got his motel shot up by some special forces a few months ago.
We do make a mess of things, don't we?
You do. Here, take a little bit of Oblivion with you, and she reaches out and touches your chest very briefly, and you feel a strange sense of chaotic void opening inside of you. It subsides quickly, but you feel it residing there.
No, even a body such as mine can only take so many things at once, right?
True, and then when you can't take any more, you'll die, and, well, then things will begin for real.
I cannot wait for that day to come.
The sunlight is there every day.
Too easy.
Good luck, Nicholas. I'm certain I'll see you again sooner rather than later.
Love you too. I think he will just turn away from her, knowing that she really doesn't want to hurt him that badly, and summon a tendril of shadow, one of the tentacles, to scoop up the cross and nails.
Do you leave?
Provided there's no interaction there.
She's just watching you go.
I meant with the cross.
Oh, no. You pick it up, you feel power in it, but nothing that impedes you. You step out through the door, and as you do, the three of you are waiting, and you see Nicholas come out. And as you do, you feel part of that little bit of chaotic void inside of you leave, and the three of you feel this sense of chaos, this little ball of emptiness, but an emptiness that's not void of anything. It's filled with chaos, seep into you. All four of you will now have the discipline Oblivion.
Nice.
Nicholas steps out, still encased the body of Shadow, the tenebrous form, now with the tentacle kind of writhing at his side, almost as if pulling a David Bowie, labyrinth, just rolling the artifact around along the tentacle's edges. And he slowly drops the form, still holding on to the tentacle. think this is what you're looking for on this.
Yeah, that it is. You okay?
Let's just say we don't have to worry about Kata much anymore.
You see the red thread, Miko, that continues away from you and out the door. You see it flash briefly and then it disappears.
Did we exchange them for something worse?
I've got so many things so much more worse than Kata to deal with. Let's just say that situation found other interests. So I guess now you owe me one, as he floats the artifact over towards him. I wouldn't touch that with your bare hands, by the way. Artifacts of power are not something to be handled by the flesh.
Wouldn't dream of it. Pulls out a pair of black leather gloves.
I'm gonna hand him the corpse gloves, or the corpse hands. You can, do you wanna, could you seize?
I could.
Yeah.
You packed my other ones, so I'm gonna use those.
Okay, okay. She takes the gloves out of the bag that she packed, and she replaces them with the mismatched corpse hands into the bag. And then she closes the bag, hands over the glove.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He leans in and kisses Opal on the top of her head. Like he unshrouds her, kisses her on top of the head, shrouds her back.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Okay, well. He just holds it.
Does anything happen when he takes the cross? No
Nope.
glowing light blowing his hair back or anything like that?
No, it feels like just an old piece of wood.
All of this for this.
Usually the simplest things that look so simple and yet aren't.
Yeah.
As you wrap your hand around the cross, Sylvia, you hear a voice in the back of your head that says, "We need you here now. You've done your work."
Oh, Sylvia just lets out the biggest sigh of relief. I see that business has been concluded, and as such, I would like to take my leave of all of this.
Did I hear Lilith's name in your ritual incantation? All right. I don't mind. Thank you. Whatever you had to sacrifice, I'm sure, was costly.
This never happened.
No.
You know nothing about me. And I know nothing about you. Does that work for everyone? Opal, we're friends.
Oh, good. Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Nicholas,
I won't tell anybody, though, if you don't want me to. That's okay.
Please do not.
Okay.
Nicholas gives a very, very formal bow towards her. And as he's
I will
coming...
actually give Nicholas a hug when you try to bow, and in your ear I'll whisper, "You felt Mother's embrace. It is a gift." And then step back.
As she steps back, she just faintly hears, "Until strangers meet again." And at that point, the shadowy tentacle probably dissipates.
And as each of you will venture back into the night, each with your own designs and goals. Certainly, Arnaz to do with the cross what he's intended to do. Nicholas, go look perhaps for more questions without answers. Sylvia back to Europe to continue the work of Lazarus, and Opal certainly off to bake some goods.
Absolutely. First, I do arrange a message out of corpses to send Bogdan off. I mean, he needs a proper goodbye.
Goodbye.
I write goodbye, Bogdan, and then I do leave a cookie on his corpse, and then I go bake more.
Perfect cookie. And as the lot of you leave, the sun eventually rises, as it always does, its warmth and light spreading throughout the city. And as it does, a dark Escalade pulls up to the rec hall. There are cops around it now. There's police lines. There's ambulance coroner's vehicles. Just a ton of people. And as the vehicle pulls up, everyone stops working. And they look, and the door opens, and this man steps out of it. He's wearing a blue suit. His hands are covered in tattoos. He's got wraparound racer glasses. He walks up to the front door of the rec hall, looks inside, reaches in his pocket, pulls out a Werther's original, unwraps it slowly. As he does so, the phone rings. He stops. An inch away from putting the Werther's in his mouth. Reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone. Listens. And says, "We're going to need to step up our timetable. The cross is on its way back to Chicago. Find the professor or Cassie. Don't fuck up this time. Our meeting with the president is in 2 weeks." Closes the phone, puts it in his pocket, brings the Werther's original up to his mouth. Flicks it onto the corpse of Bogdan. Have a candy, freak. Your kind and the rest of you, days are numbered. And he turns around, heads back to the truck, gets in, closes the door. The sides of the door emblazoned with the shield of Aegis Corp as he drives off into the sunlight. And that, my friends, is where we will end tonight's session of Vampire the Masquerade.
Pew, pew, pew.
Anathema. As I'm sure half the players are like, what the fuck was all that about?
Important stuff, clearly. We all know. I read the briefing. I know what's up.
Hey, at least I didn't eat the Werther's.
What do you have against Werther's?
That's on you, honestly. You're not hurting anybody but yourself.
That's an inside joke for anybody that knows about Bleak's mouth noises.